This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Right, we continue to cover the first place Miami Dolphins, baby, sitting on top of that division 7-3. And Cameron Wolfe, you, sir, are you covering the best quarterback in the NFL right now?
I'm covering one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I think I was just mentioning this to someone. I think your top three right now are Tua, Patrick Mahomes, and Jalen Hurts. In whatever order you want to put them, those are your top three.
Hurts is not in their class.
I would completely disagree.
No. Come on, bro.
Come on, man. Jalen Hurts is playing great ball.
Jalen Hurts can't pass in his dreams like those two other guys.
He's contributing with his legs in a way the other two aren't. So
I know,
it's different ways.
And I've seen this story before, and I know how it ends.
You can disagree. This argument is not about Jalen Hurts. This is about Tua. But my point, my belief is that there's a three-man MVP race right now between Tua, Patrick Mahomes, and Jalen Hurts. And that's something that I think a lot of people in Miami believed in their wildest dreams, but not many people out of it. And so I think it's a testament to Tua's play. I thought it was so dope hearing Tua get the MVP chance today because I've talked about it on NFL Network, but to hear it put into fruition, I mentioned it last week. I'm like, Tua's in the MVP conversation. After all the question of can he throw the deep ball? Do his teammates like him? All these different stuff. 2 months later, is he the MVP? Is he the best quarterback in football? You're asking me. Like, imagine just how much he's had to do in these 2 months to change the conversation to where, as Tyreek Hill said, nearly everybody has to apologize to him who was wrong. And so he's playing tremendous ball. And I really have no negatives about the offense or Tua. It was almost a flawless game today. Like I really I couldn't even nitpick you anything that went wrong with the offense.
Yeah, no. I mean, it was a great game today. It was absolutely the most complete game, actually, of the year for the Miami Dolphins. And actually, I was telling fans this in the pregame show. You tell me, I mean, the postgame show here, if you agree with me. This is the first time you actually see what McDaniel wants to do on offense.
Yeah,
when you've been watching the other 9 games. He's had to adjust
with the run game. Right. This is the best run game performance I can remember seeing. Like, I'm sure there's one statistically in the last 5 years that is technically better, but just the way that they didn't even run a lot. They just, every time they ran, it seemed like it was easy. It was easy. Yeah. Jeff Wilson, what a find. What a find Jeff Wilson was, man. And people, I remember when I tweeted out the news about it, people were like, a 5th-round pick? That's a lot for Jeff Wilson. Man, a 5th-round pick feels like a steal. A steal. Jeff Wilson immediately came in, and him and Raheem Mostert are perfect thunder and lightning. And Chase Edmonds have been one of the worst running backs in football as far as efficiency. Jeff Wilson's the complete opposite. And so it makes everything look better when you have a downhill runner like him who's so physical. And like you mentioned, it helps McDaniel's offense. You get to fully see it because you're balanced. Tua was doing all that he was doing in the first 8 games of the season, and they knew he was passing the ball. Now you have a little bit of unpredictability. You don't know if they're handing it off to Jeff Wilson 3 times in a row or if they're throwing it to Tyreek Hill 3 times in a row. And so that's what makes this team not only Tua MVP candidates. This team's a true contender. This team's a true AFC contender. I know a lot of people have been saying it's Buffalo or KC. I think Miami deserves to be just as much in the mix as those 2 teams as well.
They already beat Buffalo, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they're ahead of Buffalo and beat Buffalo. So I don't want to hear this. This Buffalo shit has to die, bro. It's over already. Let's not make it sound like Buffalo's heads and shoulders above Miami. They're no longer head and shoulders above Miami. We have to stop this already. It's just like,
I agree.
They're right there, bro. They can beat Kansas City too.
I've heard
they can lose to Kansas City, but they can beat Kansas City too.
Right. I don't think there's any team in the league the Dolphins can't beat. They've got to play their A game. You play Patrick Mahomes, you got to play your A game. But I still remember, what was it, a year ago they played Kansas City, and you could tell there was a gap. They came back in the second half, they played well, and you're like, hey, I could see it way off in the distance. Maybe they'll be able to beat this team one day. I don't think it's that far in the distance. I think if they played them next week, KC would probably be favored by 4 or 5 points, but it wouldn't shock me if the Dolphins beat them. And I think they're in that class. And the Bills are going through struggles right now. Josh Allen has 10 interceptions this year. He leads the NFL in interceptions.
And he's not, and by the way, he's not a better passer than Tua.
Yeah, he's not playing. This is not his year.
No. He's never played like this. He's never had this kind of accuracy. He lives on his athleticism and his arm. He can actually make the plays that the other guys we're talking about, Lamar Jackson and Hurts, they can't make the plays that Josh Allen makes on a consistent basis with his arm. But when I talk about just accuracy, Tua's more accurate than he is. There's no doubt.
What's been so awesome to watch with Tua is that not only has he been super accurate, which we've always known that he's accurate, right? There is no lack. There's no hesitation. When he sees something, he trusts it. There's not been a single throw where I've seen him pass up because he's hesitated or he felt like, I'm not sure if I can make that throw, or I'm not sure, or they may pick that one. There's been no hesitation. Last year, let's just be real, he had some hesitation. There were some passes where he was like, I'm not. And there were factors there. The coaching staff, the scheme, there's no hesitation, 100% confidence in the scheme, 100% confidence in Tyreek and Jalen as his playmaker. And he's got the swag, man. He's got it.
You saw it on that touchdown when he was running down when he threw in the
I love that.
He was swagging, bro.
I don't know what I love more. Do I love the swag when Tua has a swag, or he has a saltiness? I like them both. Well, you know, it's a different element of him in both styles. But I think you see a little bit of his personality in each way.
Well, and that's because his personality was not allowed to come out in the last 2 years because of the dude that was around. He was an outgoing guy with his teammates in Alabama. Now, is he going to go to the club with you? No, dude. But he's going to joke around with you in the locker room. He's going to do normal things. So whatever, a video game or mini golf or whatever, he's going to do normal things, go out and eat with you. If you want him to go to the club or the strip club, or you want him to go out with ho chasing, you want him to, no, he's not going to go get drunk with you. That's not it. So if you're the party guy, he's him and Russell Wilson and Tim Tebow and Tony Gwynn and Cal Ripken and all those kind of guys are going to bore the shit out of you because they're not interested in that kind of stuff. I get it. That's just the way it is. But it's just this misconception that was around him, like that he wasn't social, that he wasn't really reaching his teammates. That's bullshit, dude. He would joke around with his guys in Alabama, but it's his way of doing it.
Absolutely.
It's different. That's all.
Yeah, I love that he's unapologetically himself. But I will say that he's always been friendly. He's always been social. But I will say he has opened up in a way that he hadn't before this year. And I think it's absolutely to do with the positive energy, the support. It all starts with your head coach, Mike McDaniel. He showed up at his luau in the offseason, and people were like, what is that? That's the start of your coach saying, hey, I believe in you as a person first, and then I believe in you as a player. And it's unlocked this version of him. Like I was telling a buddy earlier, I always thought that Tua could be this guy. You know, this is to me, I saw this. I'm like, hey, this guy can be here. But we hadn't seen it consistently. And now he's showing it this year to the fullest extent. And I don't really know. I'm sure there's still people out there who are doubters and haters, but I'm not really sure what you can say at this point to go against. Like, I'm sure there's still some. I'm sure they may be
I heard Florio. And he was saying some stupid shit still about him. Hell, up until 2 weeks ago, he still thought he was 190 pounds. I mean, it's like, just shut up, bro. If you're not even around the guy, you got to do is a good 220. You know he's not 190 pounds, you moron. Shut the hell up already.
People would be surprised. Tua's a bigger dude than people thought. He's got some nice meat on his bones, you know. He is good. He's good on weight. I think what was cool about this game, and I'm sure the receivers don't love it, but Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, neither of them had a great game as far as stats. Neither of them had 100 yards. And so that's the other argument that, you know, it's Tyreek and Jalen, they're carrying Tua, and that's the only reason to seeding. Well, you're seeing today that he can shine even when they have quiet games. And I think that
you don't have to take away.
Huh?
That's it. The passes to Trent Sherfield.
Right.
That's all you need to know. That's accuracy, bro. It's dead ass accuracy, bro.
The two passes that most impressed me today, he threw about a 20-yard pass to Jalen Waddle on the sidelines on that same drive. And then I think it was 1 or 2 plays later, he had that over the shoulder fade to Trent Sherfield. Those were 2 of the best passes I've seen him throw this year.
And the Waddle sideline, the short Waddle sideline right over the DB.
Yep. That's the one I'm talking about. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
No, I thought you were talking about the timing play with Hill. I forgot. I got it confused.
No, I'm talking about the Waddle play.
Okay, but the timing.
The Waddle play impressed me more. The Hill was good, but the Waddle play and the Sherfield play were the 2 that impressed me because those have to be so pinpoint. And people talk about his arm strength. Those were arm strength and timing plays. Like, you have to have both to be able to complete those plays. And so I was extremely impressed with Tua. I have been all year, so it's not like it's anything new. But to me, it's the consistency, right? Because when it's a few games in a row, you're like, okay. But as you continue to stack more and more, it's not just that he's having a good run. It's that this is who he is. And so I think that's, obviously he's going to have to finish this year this way. And the big thing, the only question I think you could have left is he going to be able to stay healthy? But if he stays healthy and continues to do this, then to me, that shows who he is. This is who he is. It's not just that he's having a good period or Tyreek, or this is who he is when you surround him with what he needs to succeed. And so I think the Dolphins got to feel great. They got to feel great, not only about Tua, but about their team. The offensive line played the best game I've seen them play. Man, they were giddy. I was in the locker room. Dudes were singing. The offensive linemen were singing to each other. I had never seen them singing to each other before. They didn't sing very well, but they were singing to each other. The running backs played really well. And the defense, after that first stop, I talked about the defense being sort of the group that I was worried about. Landon Roberts had a really good game. He set the tone early with some big hits. And they were physical. Nick Chubb's,
Baker got a couple plays too.
Christian Wilkins was another monster inside.
He was awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Zach Sealer popped that Nick Chubb fumble out. So yeah, there was great play all across. This was the most, I know it's not the sexy opponent, it's not the Bills, it's not the Ravens, but this was the most dominant game they played, all around all season.
I'm sorry. Last week, didn't they hand the team that went to the Super Bowl their ass?
Yes.
Okay,
they did.
Okay, no, because I want to remind people constantly that this is the NFL. Because I have people like, well, McDaniel got a little cute there. Oh, and then the kicker, and I'm like, yo, relax, bro. These are human beings. They just played a near perfect game. No coach is going to call every right play. No receiver is going to catch every right ball. They're not all going to run the right routes. All the offensive linemen aren't going to make all the plays. Tua isn't going to make every single throw in the world. There are going to be mistakes in a game, bro. Jason Sanders will miss something, and McDaniel screwed up on that 4th down call and the 3rd down call, by the way, too. On top of that, little things happen. Big freaking deal, bro. This was an awesome game played. Forget the opponent. You could lose to anybody, man. You can lose to anybody. And there it is. This same team handed the Bengals their ass last week. They dominated the Bengals
2 weeks ago, but yes. Yeah.
Whatever.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I think that's why I think that it's going to be such a fun stretch. Not only because Tua's playing well, because the Dolphins are playing well, because I'll be home more because the Dolphins are good, but also because the AFC is wide open. To me, it's wide open. The Chiefs could win it. Sure. Yeah, Buffalo could get right and win it. Sure. But the Dolphins can win it too. I believe the Dolphins could win the AFC. I've seen enough that if the Dolphins are I'm not going to say buy your tickets yet. Big O can tell you that. I'm not going to tell you to buy your tickets yet. But
I already got my Airbnb in Arizona, baby. I got a 3-bedroom, 3-bath for a week in Arizona already, bro.
I got you. But would it shock me? Would it shock me if the Dolphins are representing the AFC in the Super Bowl this year? No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't.
Of course not. By the way, okay, so because obviously I've been called a nutbag the last couple of years. So when I said last year that if the Vikings had Tua, they would go farther. If the Titans had Tua, and I said this to you and all the guys, if the Titans had Tua, they'd go farther. If the Rams had Tua, they'd win the Super Bowl the same way. Does that sound that crazy anymore?
No, not this year. Last year, yes. Last year, Tua, yes. But
well,
this year,
that's because others thought Tua was the problem. And
right.
as I kept repeating over and over again, everything around Tua is the problem, not Tua.
So, everything else around him needed to improve. But I will say that Tua has improved as well. This isn't just, hey, you put him in a better situation and he's playing the same. Tua has played tremendously improved ball than he was playing last year.
Well,
and it's not just,
you look like
I said, a part of it was the coaching and the support staff, but that's not it. Tua himself, like even beyond just the support, it's not all 100% that. Tua himself, he has clearly made some mechanical, some field improvements with his game. You disagree, but to me, he has made throws, like even beyond the scheme, that he was not making last year. The confidence, yes, that comes with your coaching, your players, but the mechanics, the flow, the pocket press, these are things that I think he's improved in his game. It's a different player, even beyond the support than we saw last year.
Well, life is about peaks and valleys. Alabama peak.
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel peak. Flow valley. That's the way I look at it, my brother. When he has competence around him and a coaching staff and talent around him like any quarterback should have, he excels. You put him with sewage, well, guess what? He still won more than he lost. He still threw more touchdowns than interceptions, but you don't have enough people around him to make plays. So those are the end results. So to me, that's why you and I are going to disagree, because his track record to me is competence around him, he excels. Now, let's go to this. This is what also showed up in this game in so many ways. All right, let's start off with Mr. Wilson Jr. rushing the ball. Let's also talk about Justin Bethel making plays. Let's talk about Chubb, who didn't have his London legs on a short week. He had a whole week to relax, practice, and look better this week and more prepared. And with the Ogba injury, that really elevated the need to have Chubb on the field. And sure enough, it paid off. At the beginning of the game, you heard that Teddy Bridgewater was not playing. Did you flinch? Did you worry? Were you concerned? No, because once again, the front office knocked it out of the effing park because they've got Skylar Thompson standing there and ready to go. And you're like, I'm good. There's no drop-off to the third guy. There's Cater Kohu running around the field, putting away his lightsaber after every play that he makes. My point, there's Brandon Shell at right tackle. There's Robert Jones, who they've been hanging on for the last 2 years, developing him. My point is the front office continues to effing shine every single time. And they keep finding guys and they keep this team afloat. So it's not just a coaching staff. Let's give love to that front office because the examples are everywhere.
Yeah, no, I think you're on the money there. I mean, Brandon Shell, man, this is a guy who everybody's always looking for offensive tackles. And he was on the street for some reason 4 to 5 weeks into the season. And they're like, let's give him a shot. And he ends up being your starting right tackle. And he's going to be your starting right tackle. Like there's no reason to replace him. We talked about it last week. If Austin Jackson's going to work his way on the field, it's going to be at left guard. And honestly, Rob Jones played well enough that I'm not messing with the O-line. I'm just saying,
that's what I've been saying.
You just chill out. You just chill out. We'll see. There's always injuries, so be ready. Somebody struggles, we may change our mind. But as of now, that 5, I don't have an issue with just keeping it. Just keep rolling it. Sometimes you lose your job due to injury. That happens sometimes, right? So I don't change it. I think that's a great find. I think Justin Bethel, just seeing him play, man, it was great, man. Like Donovan Peoples-Jones had one really good catch on Cater early in the game. It was like the first play of the game or something like that early. And then after that, other than like little slants, they pretty much kept him in check. X did a pretty good job against Amari Cooper. He's had some struggles this year. X had a good game today. And those other 2 guys pretty much made the other guys obsolete. And so Justin Bethel, this is a guy who had about 50 defensive snaps in his last 4 years combined before the season is stepping up, being your number 3 corner, essentially. You have him active over Noah. And so I think that's a testament to coaching, too. You know, this is a guy this is a guy you got to have ready. And
Amen.
he's clearly playing his technique. Like, this is a guy who's clearly all technique, all positioning. He's not your 4-3 guy. He's not this super tall, long guy. He doesn't have the athletic traits Noah does, but he knows how to learn. He knows how to take what he's taught, and he is well in position. And so that's a great find for them as well. Like, I don't think they anticipated them playing this much defense, but it worked out. And so, you know, and then Jeff Wilson, I talked about him before. But man, that could be the move that we look back on and say that was the move that made them from a good team that should make the playoff to why can't they win it? You know, because it makes them a more complete team. And I'll end with this: they had the better Chubb today. They had the better Chubb today.
Right. And Dolphin fans walked out with a Chubb. Damn right. Okay, a couple things before I got to let you go here. Do we know anything about the Agba injury? Did it look serious?
I do know that I didn't see him in the locker room, and that concerned me a bit. A lot of times you see guys kind of lingering, and you'll talk to them, and they're like, "I'll be good." Agba was nowhere to be found. It's an elbow injury, which concerns me a bit, and he was ruled out at halftime, and so I'd imagine they're going to have an MRI, X-rays done over between today and tomorrow, and we'll get some sort of final announcement. But like you said, I think this might be a situation where it's good to have a bye week. First of all, you don't need him for a week. Give him a chance to heal up. But if you have to have him miss time, then this is why you got a Bradley Chubb. Let's just be real. Emmanuel Agba has not given you a ton this year, but he also does provide depth in a lot of snaps. So Bradley Chubb plays a lot more now. Melvin Ingram plays a lot more, and so you have to get Emmanuel Agba back. But right now,
we're not saying that it's totally bad because their history so far this year for this staff here is always take the precautionary approach. Exactly. So as guys have gotten nicked up that they've said, we're going to hold you out, and because of Chubb, maybe they said, no, we're good, man. Let's save you and get you ready for Houston in 2 weeks. So
I don't know the severity of it. I'm not saying he's out for the season or anything. I just think that, obviously, you have to prep as if you're going to miss some time. And you kind of go from there. Keon Crossan, too, another guy who left the game with a shoulder injury. He walked off the field. He was holding his arm really tight. I don't like to speculate, but you kind of have an idea of when you see somebody hold their hand with their arm and kind of not moving it at all, what that is. So he's a guy who, that you lose another cornerback, but like you said, they seem to plug away and find guys who don't seem to play a lot of corner and make them play well. So we'll see. This will be a really good week for them to get healthy, get right. And they got to, I don't want to call it a cupcake, but it's a cupcake coming out of the bye with the Texans. And then you go on a very difficult stretch starting in December that'll really test them. But from what I've seen, I don't think they should be too worried.
Oh, that stretch is not like the first 4-game stretch, which was, oh, my God, their whole season could be over after that first month and all that. So, they kind of keep moving the fence. By the way, did you see Justin Bethel in the locker room? Because he got banged up a little bit, too.
Yeah, so I did see him in the locker room.
All right, last one. We just talked about the front office and their search. If you were the front office, are you searching for a kicker?
I'm doing some workouts. Me too. Let's just be real. You can't miss multiple extra points. I mean, Jason Sanders is a good guy, but this is what have you done for me lately, industry? And for me, my kickers missed too many kicks for me this year. I don't feel comfortable putting them in. I need to feel good about putting my kicker in for an extra point and to make a 45-yard field goal to win a game for me. And I don't know if I feel great in either situation for Jason Sanders. I'm not saying he automatically has to lose it yet, but I would at least do some workouts in the bye, maybe sign a kicker to my practice squad and say, we're going to have a kickoff for a couple weeks and practice and bring some heat to you and see how you do. I don't think Jason Sanders should be going into this bye week feeling super comfy. Maybe they have more rope to him than I do, but I would certainly be working out kickers.
Yeah, no doubt. Don't be off on Tuesday. Be alert. That's all I can tell you. Tuesday. There you go. Follow them on Twitter. Normally, NFL teams work players out on Tuesdays. That's why I say that.
Correct. Yep.
So free agents that are out there could be working out on Tuesday. Follow him on Twitter at Cameron Wolfe. Catch his work there at the NFL Network. Cam, we will talk throughout the week, my friend. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, my guy. Thanks.
You got it. There you go. That's our KSDT CPA post-game report.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.